Hey guys, welcome to Quaft. I'd like to introduce, this is, what's your name again?
Michael.
Michael from Promac Tools. Promac Tools are the distributors for Tormek here in Australia. Michael's been here today showing me how to use the Tormek Sharpening System. We've sharpened a bunch of things. We've done chisels, gouges, axes, knives. What else do we do?
There's some carving tools, some fixed up some axes, some turning tools, some chisels.
Yep.
Yeah, we've given a good run through.
Yep. So
Cheers.
cheers. Cheers, everyone. So I thought we'd take the opportunity while Michael's here to just quiz him on a few things about Tormek. And a few people have sent us 3 questions, so I'll read those off for you. Hit Michael with the hard questions and go from there. And then afterwards, if you want to shoot through any questions, I'll try and answer what I can. Anything I can't answer, then Michael and the team at Promac are really great with getting back to you guys, the users of the tools, the sharpening system. So they like to keep you guys informed on how to use it properly. So from my perspective, we're really stoked to be selling Tormek now. I've been using one for a number of years, but even so, I'd sort of had a few mistakes and a few wins. I love using it because of the repetition that I can get from using the tool. But I thought I'd ask Michael, what do you think the advantage to woodworkers and carvers is to having the Tormek system?
Look, we could talk about sharpening all day, as we have. But I guess to break it down, depending on what your craft is, you want to spend more time carving, you want to spend more time turning, less time sharpening. So it just makes it easy, repetitive, repeatable. So less tool wastage, and it will sharpen that tool to as sharp as it was intended to be, to give you the best results.
Yep.
So sharpening is a bit of an art in itself. Takes some people a lifetime to master sharpening freehand in many different ways. But on the Tormek, it's easy. Just open the handbook up, choose the tool you want to sharpen that day. We'll tell you how to do it, and then you can do it again and again and again.
Yep.
And like I said, spend more time carving than you do sharpening.
Yep. So I'm guilty of this, people. This book is the Bible.
Kind of forced it down your throat today, didn't I?
On how to use it. Don't be shy. Open it up, read it. It is actually very easy to follow. It has
Pretty pictures.
So if you're a visual learner versus a theory learner, then these will work really well for you because they're both options are there. So yeah, open it up, read it. You've only got to read the first section thoroughly. Again, we've got another truck.
Another delivery. Always when we want to record.
And then everything's broken down so you can look up in the contents the tool that you're sharpening and then just go to that and it tells you what jig to use and how to use it. Something that I would also mention is, and as it states, water-cooled sharpening. So we all start out sharpening on a grinder, well not we all, but a lot of us are guilty of doing that. As soon as you use a grinder, you start heating up your tools and you're jeopardizing the temper in your edge tools. So if you don't have to, don't.
Sounds better coming from you than me.
Anything to add to that?
No, like I said, it's all about spending more time doing what you love and less time sharpening, but we need sharp tools to do what we love. So my biggest recommendation, as you said, the book is fantastic. You don't have to read it all. You just, like I said, choose the tool you want to sharpen. There's a few pages on how to sharpen it. It'll tell you what the optimal angles are for different tools. But I just recommend, you know, if you are going to invest in a machine, rather than trying to jump on and attack it freehand, and just do it the Tormek way for the first few tools. So at least you'll get great results to start straight away, and then you can basically just, you know, master those results from there.
Yep.
I just find if you use the jigs the right way and set the angles, you'll get great results straight away, and then you can just, it's just a matter of fine tuning from there type thing. So,
Yep.
whereas if we, you know, start trying to adapt different theories or principles into this system, sometimes some work, some don't.
Yep.
So I just, you know, I tell people, if you're going to spend the money, just, you know, even something as simple as a knife, you know, do it the Tormek way for the first 2 or 3, so you understand the process, and like I said, you'll get great results straight away, and then it's just a matter of where you want to go from there.
Yep. And a good consistent scratch pattern from tip to heel.
Correct. Yes.
In a knife is
Smooth,
definitely
nice and sharp.
advantageous.
Yep.
So we have a few questions from people.
Yes.
First up, now we have pre-read these, of course, because we don't want to be.
Well, there's a couple of new tools in there that we've never heard of.
First one came from, let's do this one, Michael from Heritage Saws, and he asked, do Tormek have a jig available to hold thicker bladed chisels, e.g. pigsticker, mortise chisels and socketed framing chisels, many of which are 15 mils or more in thickness and will not fit in the standard supplied jig?
So yeah, so with the square edge jig, it'll do up to 77 mil wide plane irons and chisels. But yes, you are limited in terms of height. There's a couple of ways you can do it. This here is called our short tool holder. So even if you're doing small chisels or short chisels, butt chisels, you can slide that through. Same with your mortise chisels as well. Most mortise chisels, what do they go up to? 20, 25 mil, 20 mil would be pretty large, wouldn't it? For a mortise chisel, I think.
Yeah.
They're not super wide.
Yeah.
So basically place your chisel through here. This will lock down onto it, and then this sits onto the support bar, and then we can follow that bevel across the stone. Pig stickers a similar kind of profile, so that'll work the same. And what was the other one?
And
Cabinet.
socketed framing chisels.
They do get quite wide. I think they do go up to about 75 or so.
So I'm assuming they're talking about slicks as well.
Yeah, so I think you can still get away with that in the square edge jig, and ideally they have a square edge on them as well. But if you do find some ones that are a little bit too thick, that then won't fit into this one here, we can also use our multi-jig as well. So the multi-jig will allow us to lock down onto the chisel too. So again, I haven't done one of those personally,
Yep.
but that would probably be the easiest go-to, would be the short tool jig. Yeah.
Well, from what I've seen today, you know, I've thrown a few
Few
curly ones at you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, yeah, you were able to do it.
Yeah, there's not always, but most times there's a way. Tormek do a good job of developing the jigs to suit common tools. Common tools change from time to time, so the jigs will evolve, get a little bit bigger, different capacities. But yeah, any questions, you know, like that, feel free to ask Chris. Chris can ask me. I'm happy to try and find a way for you as well.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Next question comes from Philip Scott. He asks, is it possible to sharpen a bill hook on the Tormek? Sharpening the straight section on my Tormek presents no problems. The curved section is a different matter though. So we didn't even know what a bill hook was.
Yeah, we had to Google a bill hook. So yeah, we can see what you mean. The straight section would be easy. Again, I'd have to play with one. It does look pretty hard, but on some of the knife sharpening we can round off a corner on the stone, and we might be able to shape it following that round surface as such to get inside. A little bit hard to explain without showing the people out there, I guess. But for Philip out there, I'd be happy to give it a crack for you and send you a video if I can get my hands on a bill hook.
And so if you round off the corner on your wheel, Is there much involved with then once you finish doing
Just-
that, recovering it?
Just use you don't have to round it right over.
Yep.
Like we even recommend for beginners to just taper off those corners, which we showed you this morning,
Yep.
particularly for some of your students. Just use the coarse side of the stone grater to round off those kind of sharp edges on each side. So even when you're lowering a knife, should you lower it more to one side than the other, it's not gonna catch or anything like that
Yep.
as well. So again, just use the coarse side to round that over, and that should be able to follow that that inside curve on that bill hook for you. So
And rounding that wheel off will save your fingers and save the edge of your tool.
yeah, the stone's very safe. The corners can be a little bit sharpish to touch, but yeah, round it over. It's not taking off too much material from your stone. Obviously, as you true your stone and over a long period of time, as the stone wears down, you'll come back to having corners on there again. So just use the coarse side to round them over again. Yeah.
Thank you. Next question we had was from Pip. Now Pip sent me
Pip sent you
a
a bit of a
questionnaire.
question. we might need to do some one-on-one training with Pip. It was a bit of a in-depth questions within a question, I think.
So first question was interested in, I may as well read it to all of you because there may be something that sparks your interest. I'm interested in how to sharpen slide knives and axes using a Tormek. Does the diameter of the wheel affect the depth of the hollow grind able to be achieved on a slide knife that is a T4 or a T8? We'll start with that.
The diameter of the wheel will affect the, I guess the hollow grind. We're working on a round wheel. A T8 has a 250 mil diameter or 10 inch. A T4 starts at 200 mil or 8 inches. So, a T8 will provide a shallow hollow grind, and that grind will be a little bit more prominent on a T4, but in most cases, once it gets down to, I think we can wear it down to about 160-ish, 150 something on a T4 before you replace the wheel. That might start to get a little bit too hollow for some tools. So it depends on your application, but yes, obviously it does make it.
So
make a difference.
the smaller diameter of a wheel will make a much deeper hollow.
Yeah, correct.
So obviously, as you wear down your T4 wheel, it's going to be get a lot smaller than a T8 will.
Yeah.
And you'll get a much deeper grind.
Correct.
Yep. So yeah, Pip said, I find it doesn't take many sharpening sessions before she loses that hollow grind, and she's doing a hollow and then doing a flat using water stones.
I think we said we might have to talk to Pip a little bit more in depth on that one, because it would come down to what angle you're putting on the bevel, first of all, and then she's doing so we've got one kind of large primary bevel, and then she's putting a flat bevel on as the cutting edge on top of that type thing. So we'd have to talk to you about what angle you're actually setting the primary edge for, and then what angle you're setting the flat edge for, to get a bit of an idea of that. But happy to talk to you on the phone or get a little bit more information from you on that one. But yeah, obviously that will make a difference to how long that lasts. If you're doing quite a shallow grind as a primary, and then putting a shallow, you're kind of shortening that hollow grind, so yeah, it won't last as long. Yeah.
But I mean, in theory, in my mind, that flat grind shouldn't need that much of a touch up to bring it back to a sharp edge. So yeah, we'll reach out to you, Pip, and chat to you on that one. What Tormek stones would be required to hollow grind, then finish sharpening a sloyd? Does this involve the side of the stone sharpening?
Guess we'd have to see what she means by that. But
I'm guessing that she's talking about doing a flat grind, so that would be using the diamond stone.
Yeah, so diamond would be better for that if you're doing a flat grind with the MB-100, which is the multi-base. So it allows us to use the support bar and set up our jigs for the face of the diamond wheel. So obviously you can do your hollow grind working on top of the diamond wheel, and then do your flat grind on the side.
So would you possibly do something like use the SG stone, which is your standard stone, to do your hollow, remove that, put on a diamond wheel to do the sides with a finer?
Yeah, there's a couple of ways you can go. We offer 3 different diamond wheels. So if you've got a couple of them, like being a carving tool, you want a nice fine finish. So maybe if you had a 600 grit diamond wheel to do the hollowing, and then go to the 1200 to do your flat grind, and then you can finish off on the homing wheel to bring that to a nice razor sharp edge.
Yep.
Or if you could use you have a 1200 grit diamond wheel, so the DE for extra fine, and you can come from your SG wheel. So shape the hollow on the SG, put your diamond wheel on, and then do your flat grind on the side of the diamond.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Just to make it possible to sharpen. Okay, I'm curious about the new Tormek knife jig. So we had to do a bit of experimentation ourselves today with this. So does the new knife jig make it possible to sharpen the Sloyd with only one jig, or the 2 Tormek jigs currently required?
I think it would come down to the size of the knife that we're doing, but obviously like your 106s,
106 and 120s are the most popular.
So we'd still need to use the knife jig plus the small knife holder.
Yep.
I gave you a couple of tips on that to make sure.
Yep, and I've taken photos to share with everyone.
I think going back to what we said before about just doing it the Tormek way first to get some results, I think a lot of people, if you use the knife jig and then you use the knife holder, and then you put a knife in there, and then you're putting on the Tormek machine, you're essentially trying to get 4 pieces to work together.
Yeah.
So it is imperative that you just read the book on that. Like even watch the video. We've got a short video. We've got an in-depth video. The short video goes for 2 or 3 minutes, I think. So it's not a long time to learn how to do it.
Yep.
And it just shows you how to align that blade correctly, which is imperative to getting a good result. And that's what people kind of struggle with a little bit on that one. So
yeah.
But as we did a few knives today, they come up lovely and easy. So
yeah. So the short answer to that is no. You can't use the one small knife jig.
No. Just because you can't get the angle, because we've only got a small, I guess, distance from the cutting edge to the spine of the knife, I guess.
So the jig gets in the way.
You can't quite get it low enough to get the complete kind of Scandi grind on some of those carving knives.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And so I've seen this firsthand myself today. So if anyone's got any questions after this or any time, please reach out and we can talk about it. We can even do a video catch up if you like. Pip also asked, is it still better to use a hewn and hone jig on the Tormek to sharpen a Sloyd?
I think once we set up the other jig quite easily, once we went through a couple of those quick tips, there's no issues.
No, I honestly, I would use the Tormek jig on the Tormek. I think the hewn and hone jig's been designed to be used on belt sanders and things like that. The Sorby system, I'm sure it's a great jig. I haven't used it because I don't have those systems. I have a Tormek.
And the new jig upgrade is quite nice too.
It is. It's really nice. There's a big difference in the design from version 1 to version 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Also curious about the axe jig for Tormek. Will this do the right angle for a carving axe?
Well, axes are quite easy. We fixed a couple of axes today. They had some nicks in them. A couple have had some multiple facets on there as well. So we do an axe jig, and then basically we can set the angle to whatever's required. Basically, obviously axes have optimal angles depending on what their application is, but we're able to repair some axes pretty quickly today and put some nice angles on there. So they come out looking shiny and sharp.
Yep. And if you're curious about what that angle is, the degree, the inclusive degrees of a carving axe is typically 30 degrees, so that's 15 degrees either side, so it's a 30 degree inclusive bevel. So I believe that's all the questions we have for you today.
A couple of good ones there.
Yeah. But we're always available to answer your questions, so please shoot them through, and if we can't answer them straight away, they'll be researched properly and we will get the correct answers back to you.
Here to help.
Yeah.
Reach
Thanks
out.
for your time, Michael.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jeff, for being behind the camera there, and catch you all soon. Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.